Hello Australia, it's Planet Australia. I wanted to do a YouTube, mostly because I don't know about anybody else out there, but are we all confused? Are we wondering what's going on? Is Australia in a state of shock at the moment? Well, I think we are, and I'd like to ask the Australian government, what in the bloody hell are you up to? I mean, seriously. I mean, the federal government and the states aren't working together. And you can see that now. The nation can see that plainly. There's friction there. People think different things. But unfortunately, see, the thing is, why did they open the borders? Why open the country? Why open everything up and tell everybody, look, there's no QR coding, there's no more mask wearing. There are in certain places, but there's none of this and there's none of that. And you can go about your business as normal as to what I call, and always will, modified freedom. Now everybody's confused because people have booked for their travels overseas, rural, in Australia, everywhere, even local camping sites, caravan parks, everywhere, and people thought, well, we're going to have a great Christmas, but unfortunately it's not that way, is it? Really, is it, government? I mean, you think about it, our Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said that we should be treated like adults and given the responsibility, and it's true. And he believes that. But unfortunately, other states don't believe that and don't give that right to society to be treated like responsible citizens. And I dare say most of the nation would be. It'd be, maybe 50% that aren't towing the line. And unfortunately, people now have been penalised through that. I mean, they're being given wrong tests, and then when they are given the right test to be told that they're positive, and how mind-blowing. And I know people in the medical industry and in the health industry there and pathology industry would be overwhelmed, overworked, tired, perhaps sick, fatigued, mentally, physically, and the government can't see that. So when there's an error, who do we blame? Of course, the people that did it. But unfortunately, it should be the states that aren't working towards what they said, opening the borders, doing this, accepting people in, to Queensland, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania, you take a pick, and then turn around and say, no, we can't have this because we got cases of Omicron. And Omicron at the moment, I don't think, and I think everybody in the nation would agree with me, and leave a comment if you don't, that Omicron is not so severe. It's contagious, yes, but not so severe. I'm not a medical expert or anything like that. I'm just saying what I know, what I need to know, because I do suffer with an internal disability. So I need to know these things. So I make it a point of doing my research and knowing. But the thing is, people now, because of the wrong tests, or they've got to line up to do a test before they enter, before they leave, before, day 7, and now it's day 5, and all this sort of thing, aren't free to do what they want. And that was to enjoy their Christmas, their vacations, because they're too busy lined up worrying whether they are sick, and also What's going to happen if they are sick? Do they need to isolate? How do they isolate if they're a couple of 100 miles from home? What happens to them? What's the next plan in the government's big let's open the economy when it's really not that way, unfortunately? And Prime Minister has said, treat us like adults. But other states and so forth aren't, and that's a shame. Because everything's slowing up, it's seizing up. The economy is not starting up, it's seizing up. Because as is, you can see on TV, it's all around. People can't get to work because they're sick, or they've got to isolate, or they've got to do this, or they've got to do that. So business owners suffer big time. Yes, whether you're big, small fry, it doesn't matter. The little bloke, the average Joe, the business people are going to suffer. The economy's going to suffer. The people are going to suffer. The industry is now suffering because people are mentally fatigued, and they don't know from one day to the next. I'm sure you guys don't know what's going to happen. And if they wanted to make it easier with things, then perhaps maybe do, instead of this COVID testing and so forth now, and we can see that's not working in any way, shape or form, that maybe you would tackle it different. You've given the freedom, you've opened up the economy. Now we say that, what you guys say, it's through the admissions through the hospital, ICU, and intensive care, where you should care, where the numbers are. Are we climbing in depth, severity to this illness, sickness? And if we aren't, then why? And I ask, and I suppose millions of other people are asking why they've been held captive to do tests when it really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Because people are tired of it. They've gone out, they got their vaccinations. You're asking more about the boosters. Well, good luck. Because people now think, well, what's the bloody use? We get the boosters, we get the vaccinations, and still we're held captive with our remodified freedoms. And we're still, society is not free because the states can't agree with the federal governments. And that's a shame, because that's what our politicians were hired for, whether you live in one state or another state, to get on to work. Politics was born from the community, and that's where it should extend back to the community, the care of the community. What happens? And at the moment it's tush for tash, tash for tush, tush for tash, when it shouldn't be that way at all. So if the government, the states and the federals could see it a little bit more like Scott Morrison, give the responsibility back to the people, because treat us like adults, for God's sake. And to the people that are doing the wrong thing, that can't be trustworthy, then penalise them. Do something. But people's livelihoods are at stake. Their lives, their homes, their family, their jobs, their sanity, their physical status, their well-being, the whole life, the economy matters. People matter. But at the moment, the economy's seizing up. And why all this friction's happening, then it's going to get worse. And remember, we've got winter coming on, after summer. So are we going to get sicker? Perhaps so, most probably. So what are they going to do down there in wintertime? Lock us down? God bloody well hope not, because it's not going to work. And if you want people to go out and get vaccinations and boosters, make it easy, make it freer. Stop all this testing. It's not going to matter. At the end of the day, people are getting sick. And as you say, it should matter. The climb of the rate, depth, severity. People are going to get sick. And people don't believe what I can hear on the grapevine, and people talk, normal Joe saying this Omicron ain't that bad. compared to Delta. So is it outdoing Delta? I don't know. But people are saying this Omicron is not that bad. And why people know that, then they're going to think different. And unfortunately, they're remodified. Your remodified freedom, my freedoms, are going to be held captive. And so if the governments can work together, this would be a great thing. Scrap it all. Don't worry about it. Queensland, you've opened your borders. Victoria, you've opened your borders. South Australia, Tasmania, whoever's opened their borders, open them, you've opened them. Why test before you come in? Basically, people are sick. What are you going to do? Shut down the economy, seize the economy, slow the economy down? You say, slow the contagion down? No, no, no. It's slowing the economy down. More like it. But anyway, that's all I had to weigh in on, because there's so much uncertainty out there now. They don't correct it now. By winter, it's going to be mayhem and people aren't going to be happy. And that's unfortunate, because now with people and their livelihoods, they lose it. They've got no hope for the 2022.